that I did with my students. There were 13 students in the classroom. I first asked them why are we noisy in the classroom, and then they gave me some answers, and then they did some pictures. They drew all these pictures, and my second question was, what can we do to stop being noisy in the classroom? And then they came up with all these answers that I organized, and I checked that 5 out of 13 students related the noise in the classroom to the seat arrangements. So in a way it was my responsibility, the teacher's responsibility, because they said that the teacher should organize the students, where they sit, where the desks are. 3 students took responsibility for the noise. So they said that everybody should be quiet, or everybody should speak in a lower voice. So they took responsibility, they took ownership of their learning. 2 students related the solution or to the coordinators. Like, for example, if you're noise, you will go to the coordinator's room and talk to the coordinator. And 2 other students said that to stop being noisy in the classroom, we should practice mindfulness. That was something that we were doing. Yeah, it's one very directly and the other one indirectly. This student said we should make yoga, breathing activities, and meditation.
That's fun.
Okay. And maybe she said that because we had been practicing yoga with a little bit of meditation at the end in the classroom. Probably that's why she used this terms. And the other student said, we need a time to sleep and relax in the air conditioner, which would be like the same thing, relax during some time in the classroom. So I tried to compare and combine mindfulness and exploratory practice in the classroom, because they are way of being in the classroom, a way of teaching. Mindfulness is not a technique, there's no recipe, there's no manual to say what to do, and not even exploratory practice, because you have to understand a lot of concepts and just practice. It means practice, you have to practice. You don't follow any recipes. And there are many things in common, like, for example, awareness. Both mindfulness and exploratory practice talk about awareness. Being aware in the classroom, being aware of what's happening to your students, listen more carefully to what they are saying, to the messages, pay attention to the messages they are giving you. Mindfulness and exploratory practice also talk about quality of life in the classroom. It's very important to understand and to understand this quality of life in the classroom, to make the environment a better place for teachers and students to avoid stress or burnout. And also well-being. The mindfulness and exploratory practice have to do with the well-being of the students and the teachers, the learners and the teachers in the classroom.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I stop.
Esse improve é a sombra. Vai toda hora. Did it take 5 minutes?
I didn't even know.
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes.
5
What did
minutes.
you do exactly? Did you carry on then for yoga practice? How was that to carry on yoga practice with little kids?
Okay, they
Is
are.
this the group that you sorry, a lot of questions. The one you brought here.
Yes.
Even they're cute.
So they are not little kids. They were 9, 10, and some 30, 11. But they were 9, 10. Okay. So what we did was this. They were extremely noisy, but they were well behaved. They were very nice kids, but very noisy in the classroom. So before they entered the classroom, I asked them to take off their shoes outside, come to the classroom, and then shoes and socks, no shoes and socks in the classroom. And then I taught them some yoga poses, like the tree, the mountain, and they had to try to be quiet, to stand still for a second. It was like half a second.
A little challenge.
Yeah, and they saw that as a challenge. For them, it was a challenge. In the beginning, they didn't understand what we were doing because they want to go to the next one. What's the next one? Okay, I finished this one. I want the next one. But after some time, they understood that they had to just try to
make the pose.
Yeah, to do that and try to quiet themselves a little bit. And after that, I asked them to lie down on the floor or sit down on the floor and close their eyes. So they loved the experience. They all said, "Oh, teacher, I feel so relaxed." And after 1 second, they were shouting again. But it was good for them. It was good. It was relaxing. So that's why maybe she said relax in the air conditioner, because it was their moment. Okay, lie down, close your eyes. They had like 3 minutes, 2 minutes just to close their eyes. Because these kids are very busy. They have lots of activities. They spend like 7 hours at school, and after school they have other activities. Sports and other things to do. So did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Is this a private or a public school?
Private school. And they study English as extracurricular activity. So they have 2 hours and 30 minutes of English. Besides the regular class.
Is it split up in 2 days, like 1 at 15, 1 at 15, or 2 hours and a half straight?
2 hours and a half every day. Yeah, straight. So they eat lunch
2 hours and a half
In English.
every day?
every day.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
every day. Every day.
That's a lot of work.
And they only have their lunchtime.
Reducing.
Yeah, so well.
So well.
Because they have a lot of time.
Também era isso. Também era bom.
Gravei.
É.
Tô gravando direto.
É.
Esse inglês é ótimo, tô gravando.
Até as babuzitas que a gente fala.
Yeah. So,
Então,
so
do you want to
would you like to present the other one, which is the students?
Right, yeah.
É melhor se cortar, né, gente?
Não, pode ir. Que pra eu cortar e recomeçar já é uma epopeia.
Sai desse que ele está falando.
Não. Pode ficar tranquilo.
Whatever.
This poster is one activity that I did with my 11 students. They were 10, 9, 11 years old. And this is a project that the school asked the teachers to do, so I didn't choose that. So the coordinators asked us to work with the students, teach the students something about Shakespeare. And as I said, oh my God, it's very difficult to talk about Shakespeare to a 9, 10-year-old kid. But then I start telling them something and using some stories, some plays, and talk about his biography, like as if it were a story. Somebody that was born in England. I was telling them stories, and they learned. They loved the plays, and their favorite was Hamlet. They just fell in love with the play. And I was going to ask them a question, but Bebel suggests that they should come up with the questions. And then for this activity, I asked them to write questions that started with why and what. And they said, why not where and when?
That's the first question.
Yes. And I said, okay, not this time. Now you have to try to ask a question using why or what. So they came up with all these questions, like one of them, why is Hamlet my favorite play? They asked this question. There's a how here. How did Shakespeare die? So they had lots of questions about Shakespeare. So after they did this activity, I had this paper on the board, and I asked them to classify the questions. Questions that are impossible to answer, questions that need research, and questions that are possible to answer. Because there are questions like where Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Yeah, and there are questions that they asked Shakespeare. I don't remember where. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, how did Shakespeare learn to write? Questions like this. So they classified the questions. And we worked on this project that the whole school was working. When I say the whole school, everybody that studied English at school was studying Shakespeare. And we did a presentation for the book fair. So all the classes, all the grades that were studying did this presentation. And they also they created games about their favorite stories. And this game is about Hamlet. That they asked, for example, the Prince of Denmark killed me. Who am I? They did everything.
They were asking these questions to us during the event.
Yeah. So they did everything. They created, they drew the pictures, they had the idea for the game. Not these other games too, but we have this is one of them.
Give us an example of
The questions.
possible to answer.
Impossible to answer. Why did Shakespeare write poems? They classified, okay? How old was Shakespeare's father when he died? Okay. Let me see. Why did Hamlet sound like Hamlet? Yeah, because Hamlet was this Shakespeare's son, yeah? So this is the question. Okay, questions that need research. Why didn't Shakespeare write songs? Possible to answer. Why is my favorite play Midsummer Night's Dream? Okay, so they classified. So after they did this, they even they realized that some of the questions that they said it's impossible to answer, they are possible to answer after some research. So after that, we had to go over the questions to check if they were really possible or impossible to answer.
And how many classes did they do? Was it the whole semester?
Not the whole semester, but a lot of classes because we were involved in a lot of activities about Shakespeare. They visit other groups. Inside the school, they told stories. They wrote. They made summaries.
And did you have time to finish the syllabus?
Because we decide about the syllabus. There is no fixed syllabus. We do the.
But how long did it take? I mean, this activity itself, the
this
questions
activity.
and
This activity was in one class. One class. Okay, so they asked the questions and they classified it was one class. But preparing the games and it took longer. I don't know exactly how many classes because they created the games, they invented them, and then they said, oh no, now I want this material and I had to get the material for that game. I need a box. So okay, I have to find a box. So it was not only one class.
Yeah, there are many different games.
Yeah.
How many were there? 3 or 4 games?
4 groups.
4 groups?
Yeah, 4 groups.
Very, very interesting.
Very interesting. Very nice. Congrats.
Congrats.
So,